And we're live. Thank you for watching. Welcome to the 16th edition of Open Source Blockchain Explorers Now. We're here with some awesome group of people that are trying to make it easy for everyone to see the data. Edition of Open Source Blockchain Explorers Now. We're here with some awesome group of people that are trying to make it easy for everyone to see. At least we know the sound works. That's good. But yeah, so, well, I always do an intro. Basically, this long story short, Etherscan is a major centralization point of Ethereum, and no one really talks about it. But we talk about it every 2 weeks. So we have an awesome crew here. So let's just do some introductions. I'm Griff Breen from Giveth. I am just pushing this initiative forward. Let's go to Andrew.
Hey guys, I'm Andrew Cravino from POA Network. I'm the project lead for Block Scout, our open source EVM block explorer.
Nice. Ankit? Oh, Ankit might be frozen. Mitch?
Hey everybody, my name is Mitch. I'm with ETH, which is funding bounties in the Ethereum ecosystem.
Nice. Yeah, Mitch is awesome. And Jay.
Yeah, my name is Jay Rush. I'm with a project used to be called QuickBlocks, now called TrueBlocks.
Yeah, thanks Jay for coming. Okay, well, speaking of the artist formerly known as QuickBlocks, or I guess the project, I think we can just start with you, man. You have an update for us?
Yeah, so yeah, we have been called QuickBlocks for about 2 years, and we tried to trademark that name, and a big giant software company didn't like that because it sounded too much like QuickBooks. So they told us we couldn't trademark. So we changed to TrueBlocks, and it kind of reflects what I'm thinking about now a little bit better than QuickBlocks. We're still interested in fast data, but I'm now interested in how you can deliver that data to people in a provably true way. So our tagline is provably true data. So I'm trying to think about if it's possible to extract the data and deliver it, but not lose the fact that it was previously agreed to by the whole world. So that's where I'm kind of focused. And that's what the word true means in that thing. And I have a lot of thoughts about that. I have a lot of reading to do. I'm sure that many people have studied this issue, but you know, I have some thoughts about how I might be able to do that. So
and you just got an awesome grant, right?
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Yeah, I wanted to thank everybody. There's about 1,000 people that helped me out to do that and gave me encouragement and so forth. So I just want to thank the whole planet Earth. Thank you. The planet Earth is a good place this week for me. So yeah, we got a grant. I want to thank especially Griff and Richard Burton, who had a huge encouragement, and Mitch, of course, and Andy Tudhope had amazing, just helped me immensely. So, and I just want to mention my friend Ed Mazarek, who's helped me a lot as well. So,
yeah, wow.
And let me just say, I'm going to be in both Berlin this coming week and then Prague the following 2 weeks or week and a half. So I'm more than happy to talk to anybody at all about what I'm working on. So.
Thomas, congratulations.
Thank you.
Will you be doing anything different now, like with the project, going a different direction, or still the same idea and the same goals?
Well, yeah, I think that I look at it in two different ways. There's extracting the data from the blockchain, and now you have this big chunk of data. And then there's delivering the data to people that might want it. And that second part has always been a bit of a sticking point for me, because the normal way to do that is just to throw it out over the web. And now you lose the veracity of the data or the sanctity of the data that's come to agreement. And so I've been pretty much finished with the extraction of the data for quite a while. And the idea is about how to deliver data the more people I try to help with the data, the more I come to understand that the delivery has to be as rigorous as the data is as soon as it comes off the chain. So that the more people I get to talk to, the more I try to think of ways to do that. And that's what I'm working on now. So pretty much the same project. It's just moving forward to the next step.
Nice. Yeah, no, you've done a great job with the extraction aspect, and yeah, looking forward to seeing what you've come up with.
Sure. I'm happy to talk. I can't wait to meet you in person. Well, we met once or twice, I guess.
Yeah, ETH Denver, but I'll be in Prague. So yeah,
Okay.
looking forward to see you there.
Great. Thanks to everybody, by the way, Mitch especially. I can't thank you enough.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
I think everyone's looking forward to seeing what y'all do with it.
Oh, yeah. Well, cool. Well, then let's move on to the next one on the agenda, Block Scout.
Cool. So no demo this week. Not much has changed. So figured, instead of just repeating what we did last 2 weeks ago, just talk a little bit about, what we've been up to and kind of the problems we faced. So a lot of the, many of the other chains that we're hosting now, and actually we just launched one yesterday, which is our POA DAI chain. It's a side chain with the stablecoin, which all the other chains run great, fast indexing. Again, we knew this was going to be a problem, but it's the monster of Ethereum of indexing all that data. So our actual Block Scout has no issues indexing it. It's the node that we keep DDoSing while trying to extract, all these calls to it. So that's where, our struggles have been. So now we're building in basically an auto scaling and, with all of our calls. So we look for timeouts. If we see timeouts, then we start scaling back different batch sizes and internal transactions, stuff like that. So that's where we've seen the pain point. We hope to ship that probably Monday. Which we'll see, because right now our indexer's turned down by about 95% on our batch requests and everything else. And that's just by the default settings. We could scale it way up, but it's just that the nodes can't handle it at this point. So that's where our real pain point and our work the last couple of weeks have been, is trying to improve both the user experience and like the query optimization with this big data, and also from the node extracting the data. So
that node that you're running too, that's no lightweight. That's no Etch-a-Sketch, right? That's a 64 core.
Yeah, it's a big boy. We also have, we've also attempted, we also have some backup nodes as well from Genoda. It's basically an Infura type where you can rent nodes from them. So on different calls, we'll hit different nodes in order to offset the weight put on our foundation node. Yeah, cool. So we hope to see some improvements early next week when it comes to that, and start indexing a little faster than we are right now, Ethereum mainnet.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're like when you look at this node, do you feel like you want to reach inside there and like kind of do some stuff inside there?
You have no idea. I mean, because it's so frustrating because all the information is at our fingertips. Yeah. It's just, translating it into a format that we can use. I know we've talked about this a bunch, and I know there are a bunch of projects out there that are, not taking the same data, putting in a Postgres DB, but just translating directly from the, either the Rocks DB or Level DB and use that data. So it is like on a far roadmap of the project, and hopefully we'll get there.
But it kind of just feels like that's what you want to get in there.
Yeah, it makes, it's frustrating. Yeah.
So I had another thing. So I was looking at this thing called Nimbus, I think is Status or something. I think they're building a new node.
You should get out.
And I think there's an opportunity there to kind of get some of our pain into their thinking as they develop their code or something.
Yes. Yeah, there's a couple, like for ourselves, for POA, we have our Mana project, which is doing something very similar to Status in Elixir. and on their Erlang VM. So that'll be like the first implementation. We've kind of passed a little bit along of our, struggle with working with parity, not working with, but, hitting the parity node. And we hope that we can improve some things with the Mana project. So, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd like to see us sort of push out there, or maybe invite people in to talk about some of those new projects. I think there's one at Consensus called Pegasus as well.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I know Akila there. That might be fun to ping her.
Yeah, maybe they can come in and just tell us about what they're what they're doing, and then do they are they considering the pain of trying to extract the data as part of their design? Because that's, to me, important.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, that could be interesting. I think a couple of weeks though will be DevCon, so we'll probably have to miss that one, but we'll probably see them there. That'd be cool.
Yeah, and I think it actually becomes overwhelming when, so everybody has all these suggestions and points that they want to bring up to some of these clients, but I really think we need to take individual points, like whether it's, internal transactions or it's, querying this part, and then break them down into smaller wins over a period of time to get an overall larger win. And I think that's the approach.
And maybe write the code ourselves.
Yeah, you can do PRs, right? Yeah, and that's how you eat a whale too, right? One bite at a time. But yeah, PRs are really nice. And kind of a segue for that is the Ethereum Community Fund. They've given me 10 grand of DAI a month. I've been deploying on both POA Network from Andrew C. and Griff. They've really had some really nice issues on Giveth. And I think, people have been closing out some issues, which is pretty cool. So there you go. Feel free to hit up gitcoin.co/requests on any of those issues. You can request an amount and boom, boom, boom. I'll just go down the line. You can kind of get some more eyes on your project.
Yeah, on that point, Mitch, how do you manage all of these? I mean, because when you are submitting the payment, you in the end have to also choose the guy to do it, right?
Yeah, I'm looking, and I should keep my mouth shut, but Gitcoin's got some very interesting stuff on the back end as far as reputation is concerned, and maybe I shouldn't have said that, but there's some very interesting things. Yeah.
Is there any chance that since you're often funding other people's bounties, is there any chance that they'll integrate something more than a reputation, but also allow you to delegate your authority to other people? Or
oh, that's an idea. Yeah, I currently don't have that, so I'm currently talking to folks. That might be an interesting issue to kind of say, it's like a proxy, right?
Or an owner. I mean, all these contracts have the owner stuff, right? Only owner can do this. If you're the owner of the smart contract, then you can transfer ownership to you.
Yeah, transfer ownership and then give it to you. Yeah, that's something I'll noodle on. I'll ping them. Let me write that up.
Mitch, is there anywhere in the system to be able to see what someone's worked on previously, whether it's like a big catalog of developers that may have worked on a part of a project that now we're like, oh, we have this issue that's very similar. Can we request this person to work on this for us for, X amount of money?
Stay tuned.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Gitcoin's doing a lot of things. And while we're mentioning bounties, if you guys have any bounties that you want me to push for you, we're doing these 2 events at Web3 Summit called Bounties and Beer. So we're getting a bunch of beer, and we're going to have a bunch of bounties for hackers to hack on. I was supposed to be an all-night event, but I just found out today, actually, they're going to try to kick us out at 10. So we'll see. We'll see if we can just stay a little bit longer, and see if they actually kick us out. That's going to be my plan. But yeah, if you guys have any bounties, definitely give me a heads up, and I'll try to find people to work on them. Okay, so we have another person join us. Mark, how's it going, man?
Hey, dude. What's going on, dude? What's up? Hey, everybody. What's going on? Yeah, I saw the link. I got thrown in by Robbie. He cast me in. I was at ETHSF and got to sync with him and some other really cool folks. And yeah, he's like, dude, open source block explorer. He grabbed me by the neck and threw me into this Telegram group. Body slammed me into the ground. And I have a few bruises, but I'm recovering.
Oh yeah, you're a survivor. Did you have any topics that you want to discuss while you're here?
You guys are a little stealthy right now, right?
Oh yeah, we are very stealthy. We actually just got we got our first term sheet today, which is great.
Introduce yourself. I don't think everyone knows.
Yeah, so I'm Mark Patterson. I mean, if I were to go into some history about myself,
well, what project?
Well, the project's called DataBlocks. So it's funny now I joined the group and they're seeing QuickBlocks and TrueBlocks. We've never heard of TrueBlocks ever or QuickBlocks until I was in SF last week and I was talking to the crypto pets. And they're like, yeah, we're DataBlocks. And then he's just like, oh, have you heard of QuickBlocks? I was like, what? Is there someone?
I know those crypto pets guys are great.
Yeah, with
Blake.
Blake, yes. Blake. I was at the Republic Coinless party because we have deep relationships with all those guys. Yeah, no, I was at the party and I was talking to Blake, and then he just like he showed me QuickBlocks. I'm like, oh, cool. Everyone, there's like, it's funny to see like the problems being tackled and like in different universes coming up with similar, like very like eerily similar names, being in totally different universes, unaware of each other's existences, which is like really interesting.
Parallel. We're parallel.
Yes, it's like synchronicity. It's like quantum synchronicity or something.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm curious what DataBlocks is all about.
Yeah, so we're basically like a peer-to-peer data protocol for all blockchains. So the idea is that we're sort of like middleware that sits on top of all blockchains. It indexes information up instantly, serves it to the end user in the format that they need it. So we are able to run in browser as well. So essentially by using the engine and accessing a decentralized application, you can be a node on the network through the browser, which is really interesting. We have like a bunch of experience in like compression and indexing and querying over compressed data, and it's been an engine that's been worked on for the last 2.5 years. So it's had a lot of engineering behind it already, and it's being spun out of an existing company. So we have this engine that was built for distributed systems, and then sort of the realization came like, wait a minute, we can just move this to blockchain. Blockchain's a database. This is like, okay, this is a no-brainer. So that's exactly what we're doing. So we're in the process of transitioning the engine from production environment to crypto, and then we plan to. So there's like, and that's where like in terms of like the stealth and the open source. That's why we can't just like open source it right away. It's we have to deal with IP, and there's a lot of things we're having to sort of wrangle so we can get this out and get this and make this public infrastructure. So we're in talks with a lot of different people in terms of getting the structuring appropriate so that when we can make this public infrastructure, like the community is protected, it can build with this tech, it can benefit the greatest amount of people. So yeah, I mean, so that's sort of the quick little intro. And
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
My name's Jay, by the way.
I think we talked in the group a little bit. I think.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
Do you find that the data on a blockchain, because it's immutable past a certain, like, you know, if it's more than 10 hours old, it's immutable forever. Does that have any effect on how you're thinking about distributing that data?
Well, yeah, I mean, we can make like assumptions in terms of like time and assume that in the future.
No, for me, it's like it's immutable data. So if you publish it out to, you know, JRush, and I'm holding this immutable chunk of data that's a year old, what's to stop me from publishing it out to the rest of the world and then thereby destroying your business model? If it's immutable data. That's kind of one of the struggles I'm kind of trying to think about.
You're talking about publishing it in terms of like as soon as you pull the data off chain. And
yeah, you pull it off chain and you distribute it, and it's immutable and it never changes. So once some people get it, they share it. It's always the same and it never changes.
It's like it's a piracy thing again, right?
I don't think it's a piracy thing because it's already publicly agreed to data. We've already all come together as a community and paid for this data through security. We paid for it by inflation. The inflation on the system pays for the data. So I don't think of it as piracy at all. I think the data is already everybody's. And if it's immutable and it doesn't change, then it seems extremely easy to share. But anyway, this is kind of what I'm thinking about with TrueBlocks. Like TrueBlocks is like, what exactly is immutable data, and what can we do now that we have this immutable data that never changes? That's kind of one of the things that TrueBlocks is thinking about.
So in terms of how to manage this data off chain, is that what you're referencing?
Once it's off chain and it's frozen solid in an IPFS hash, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all I have to do is send an email with the hash, and my friend now has that data.
But I personally, I think that's kind of the point. Is this, some people don't have access to be able to grab it off the blockchain, and it's people like all of us that are making it accessible, and it should be freely passed around once we let it out to the public. Not let it out. I didn't mean it as
No, right.
Just easily accessible to the public.
Exactly, and I think that's what the point is. If somebody takes our data, then shares it even further. I mean, from my standpoint, feel free, go ahead. I don't see anything wrong with that, and I think that's the whole point of what we're doing. Now, I think somebody like you are really taking this data and interacting with it and forming it in different ways, and that might be a different use case where you may have an issue with that.
No, I'm kind of promoting that we purposefully work on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Purpose.
So we're on the same page then. Okay.
Work on exposing the data to as many people as possible.
Okay.
But anyway, sorry to ask the question. Sorry, I always ask these questions like that.
That's okay. Yeah, so we're just doing our initial fundraise right now, and we're getting some great interest. We've gotten some really great signals actually as of this morning, so it's funny how this meetup's happening right now. So we have some great lead investors that want to sort of take the charge. We got some validation on the technology from one of the Ethereum co-founders. So now now they're starting to But anyway, yeah. So we're starting to move. Yeah.
Do you have a time frame on when your project will release?
We want to have an SDK out in the next 2 months, and yeah, we want to start getting people playing around with it, getting people using it, getting people to experience what we've built, what's going on, and then yeah. I mean, so as the next 2 months, we want to have an SDK available to everybody.
Cool.
So yeah, cool. I mean, and I'm in the group as well, so we would love to have you guys play around with it and critique it and destroy it and give us feedback and rip us apart.
And come on and demo it. That'd be cool.
Oh yeah, we'd love to. We actually have some demos. We have a demo that we have right now. But I wouldn't be able to demo it right now, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I think in a couple of weeks, probably everyone's going to be at DevCon, but in 4 weeks, that might be cool to come on and show that up. But by then, you might have another one as well.
In Prague?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. We're trying to figure out what our travel plans are going to be. Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, we want to start and that's sort of my role is in terms of developing out the ecosystem, the community. What was I going to say? Griff, by the way, I have to compliment you on your role in the Aragon video. Super badass.
Oh, yeah.
Freedom. I connected with, is it Daydream Reels? Meta Mention. I started speaking to them because I really want to start working with them. I met with Laura. Laura loves you. She's like, you're so full of energy, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. No, those guys are great. I hope they're at DevCon again.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've been trying to sync up with Laura for a second now. I met with her in SF last week or 2 weeks ago, and she's super awesome. She's just everything about them and what you guys did. And, what you guys all did together is really cool. I see you wearing the Aragon shirt too, which is cool.
Yeah. I'm trying to build a second dev team for them actually.
So, oh, cool.
But that's not really open source Block Explorer talk. But yeah, so I please, Mark, I hope you can give me some links so I can add them to about your project, so I can add them to this video in the comments. And also, I have an update from Alice and Raf. They've been working on this awesome project called Etheroscope, which I've actually never been on a call with them. Mitch was handling all of their calls. But they just put out a blog post, which I'll also link below in the comments, about some updates and their status. They've got something running that I would love to see demoed here eventually, maybe not next round, but probably a month from now. And yeah, they have some great updates, so check that blog post below. In fact, you know, maybe I'll open. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I actually checked it out right before I checked it out right before we jumped on this call. One of the things didn't seem to work for me. I was trying to look up the which one was it? BNB. I was trying to look at BNB, specifically there's something about BNB. I have to pull it back up, but it wasn't working. It wouldn't load. It just kept loading for a while. But some of the other stuff worked. But I don't know. I was having trouble using it. I wasn't sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of those things where if there's a million events, you know, it gets a little slow.
I believe they're grabbing their data from Etherscan API. I could be clear. I just happened to read that right before, so they could be hitting some type of like rate limiting or something like that. I'm sure something pretty small. I was using it. I loved it. It looked pretty cool.
Well, they got to run their own version of Block Scout, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
The Block Scout seems really interesting.
Thank you. Thanks.
So like, yeah, because it looked like, I mean, you're currently indexing the entire Ethereum chain.
Yep.
Okay. Because yeah, I was looking it over and I like the interface. The whole thing's really sexy. But it almost seems like, I mean, but you're not indexing state. Is it more like a better looking Etherscan?
Yes, that's what the idea. An open source version of Etherscan.
Okay.
Yeah, the real magic is that you can put it on any chain that you want. You can run it on your server, and you can control your access to it, and you can trust it. Like, you know, maybe Etherscan gets hacked one day. I mean, if Block Scout were around 6 months ago, we wouldn't have this group right now. Because that's what it is about. So,
yeah, I remember that, Griff. That's why you were like, we should fix this.
Yeah, it's great that, you know, Etherscan's around, but like everybody depends on them. It's like if you look at a dApp, it's like, all right, check out your transactions. Like, boom, here's the Etherscan link. So it'll be good to have, you know, Block Scout open source and other alternatives as well. It's good to provide that to the community.
Yeah,
How are you currently indexing the chain, Andrew?
So we have two indexers. One catching all the new head subscriptions from Parity. And then we have a catch-up indexer, which goes back in time. So usually we'll run concurrently 20 blocks multiple times a second, but we're DDoSing our node too much, so we've had to slow that way down. And as we get, you know, the blocks, we do transactions and everything. A lot of the other processes are held in memory. So like internal transactions, like we'll keep going with blocks and balances, receipts, very simple calls, but the internal transactions will be run a lot slower and be further behind because they're more expensive, longer calls. So all the processes are divided up, and actually you're able to go to, so if you're on the ETH mainnet, you can actually go to and see every single process that's running on like Ethereum mainnet. If you go to webserver, WOBSERVER. I'll post a link, but you can actually go to like the indexer and then like the catch-up indexer and see like every single process that it's doing, which is pretty cool. It's just part of it comes built with Erlang and Elixir, so it's actually pretty cool. I just sit there and stare at it and see like the process ending and stuff like that.
So you built your own indexer for that?
Yes. Oh yeah, it's a custom indexer. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just briefly explain what we do. It's different than what Andrew does. I like do an absolute minimal index, and it's only transactions per account, and that's literally all I store. And then I rely on the node that's running on the machine later. If I want to look at a particular account, I can look at a particular account pretty quickly because I can just reach in and get the transactions, and then use the node as my data store. So I'm not extracting the entire chain at all. I'm extracting an absolute minimum from the chain, but I can get what I want, which is the transactions on a given account. And it's surprising how fast the node actually is when you're asking for very specific transactions. It's actually perfectly able to keep up with like a regular application. So, which is surprising because it's so bad at getting that index, you know, and it's all because of those internal transactions. That's the entirety of the problem, is the internal transactions. And the fact that a smart contract can call your account literally out of nowhere, just without notice. That's the problem. You know, I know you know that, Andrew.
Yeah, we've been feeling that, the pain.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, but I'm like almost on the exact opposite side from you, because you know I'm taking the absolute minimum I possibly can off, and then it doesn't give me the ability to do like a query across all the blocks or something like that. And I can't present a blockchain explorer interface because I can't just see arbitrary stuff. But I can get deep into the guts of a particular account pretty quickly after I have the index. And I think both approaches are totally useful and interesting. So,
Thomas, I have one quick question. Do you do anything with logs and like decoding them and actually like keeping track of you are? Okay.
Well, again, we're on a per account thing. So to the extent that we have the ABI of a particular account, then we can decode it. And this is like the one place where we kind of have to look outside of the blockchain for our data. We have to go to actually Etherscan to get the ABIs because we can't really get them elsewhere. My friend actually scraped every function call he found on Etherscan into a database, and we've thought about using that, but haven't gotten to that yet. But yeah, we do decode what we can, basically.
Yep. So
no, we don't decode it until we're presenting it, though. You know, so we don't have to store that decoded data off chain, right?
Do you think that data that he scraped, is that against Etherscan's terms of service?
I didn't mention my friend's name, did I?
No, of course not. But I mean,
that's some guy I heard of. I don't even know his name.
No, I don't know who did it either. But like, I'm just pointing that out, that's an interesting side effect of.
No, it's weird. It's like that. That is like one of the pieces of data that isn't on chain is the ABI. So you can't decode the data just from the data on chain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And how do you guys store the ABIs in BlockScout, Andrew?
Just in Postgres. Yeah, you can consume it from us. You know, I believe Etherscan is a call for to consume the source code and ABI as well. Is that what you're using, Thomas?
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, I think I'm not sure.
It's fairly new. That feature within the last like 3, 4, 5 months. Something maybe not. But.
I think I might read the actual web page and just scrape it out or something.
Oh, okay. But I believe they do have an actual API endpoint for that data. We do as well. But I'm curious though, would you actually like to see each function call through an API endpoint, like for a particular contract address? Is that something that would be useful?
No. You know what I'd really love to see?
Yeah.
It's immutable. So the 4-byte, the 4-byte selector, it comes from the string of the function, and it never changes after it's done. So put that on IPFS and let me bring that local to my machine.
Okay.
Or
I think we can.
Now the trouble that you have, and this is another part of my trouble, is that list of all those 4-byte things grows over time because there's new smart contracts coming into existence. So if you want immutable data in a growing world, you kind of have to make a snapshot at like block 1 million. This is everything prior to block 1 million. This is everything prior to block 2 million.
Okay. Yep.
And that's kind of along the lines of what I'm thinking about again with TrueBlocks. So because I want to deliver immutable data.
So we're heading there. So right now, if I dropped our database on one of the chains, we lose all the off-chain data. So anybody who verified a smart contract, the names of wallets, whatever it might be, it's all gone.
Yeah.
But so what we're doing is we're dumping this to an S3 bucket that's public. But our future idea is to make all this public, IPFS, something like that. Basically what you're saying, all the off-chain data that most people don't have access to, just a huge dump of it and some IPFS hash that will be able to be consumed.
But I think the trouble I've been always having is how do you do that when it's changing? If there's new stuff to add, you can't have it in a single place. You have to make snapshots and just say this is the day.
Yep.
But that requires me and you to coordinate that it's going to be on that. There's like all kinds of complications. But
well, that'd be an interesting discussion for the Web3 node.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to bring up issues like that.
We have a session on IPFS too.
Oh, I'll probably be there.
Yeah,
I might actually try to go see some of the Web3, the Polkadot stuff as well. But. Yeah.
Well, the guy who runs IPFS Consortium, I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but it's kind of like a deal between, or a system where anyone can form a group that says, hey, we're all going to host each other's data, so we all have it online.
Yeah. That's interesting.
A couple of smart contracts, because IPFS is great as long as you're hosted all the time. So or you have some hosted.
That's right. It
has
to be available.
Yeah, it's a really useful service, and I would love to see some kind of consortium that is altruistic and is hosting Ethereum contract APIs and verified smart contracts and these kinds of assets that are clearly. It'd be nice if magically the miners would host it, or but it's just too much. It's just way too much. So, but if we can, maybe it doesn't need to be altruistic. Maybe Filecoin will solve that problem for everybody. But for now,
aren't they? They're in a closed alpha right now, right?
Who is?
Filecoin.
Oh, I don't know the status.
Oh, okay. I think they're doing some behind the scenes internal testing right now with some very select people. Yeah.
No, I love that word altruistic that you use, because for me, we've come to agreement on this data as a community. It's that's what this thing is. We're paying inflation to create this data. So altruistic, it's not even really the right word. It's already everybody's data. So it's almost like we would be giving up our ownership of this data to allow it to be brought out to a place where we had to pay for it or something.
Well, hey, maybe we can get a hard fork that can fund the altruism. And, that's a little much. But, in Dash and other cryptos, they do this. Right? They have a section that's set aside where they can fund other projects that it's not easy to just add it into the client and you need some group of people that will host this thing. We need to buy Filecoin to support this.
Right.
It's technically possible,
right.
But it's a tough thing to fork into. So, but eventually, I do think that there'll be a lot of these systems in place, and that's what we're trying to do with Giveth. The long run is to build some of these systems, but it'll be a long time. I think we have to rely on a little bit of altruism to keep it going.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, we should just call it, huh? It's been a good chat though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and hopefully next time, in the next month, we'll have a lot more to actually share. Apologies for being a little bit, but
no worries. No worries, guys. All three of you guys send me some links, and I'll put it in the bottom of this description, and we'll see you guys. Oh, do you guys think we should skip next one since it's during DevCon?
Tons of events. Yeah, there's tons of stuff going on. It'll probably be hard to make it. At least for me, I'll be in San Francisco.
Unless it's like a live, like everybody's around. I mean, I would say it's probably the only way it could work.
We could do it like we did in Toronto.
Oh God, no, I know exactly. I'm saying skip it. I'm not saying let's do it live. That was a disaster.
That was my favorite one.
Oh my God, you didn't have to watch it on the. Okay. Anyway, dropping F-bombs, and we should definitely call it. We'll chat about it in the Telegram group if we do it again next week. It might be 4 weeks.
Thank you.
Yes.